Kingdom Come Deliverance 2 does something that almost seems impossible. It takes everything that made the original special and pushes it even further. After spending over 90 hours exploring every corner of this medieval world, I've discovered some things that really need to be talked about. Because while this might be one of the most impressive RPGs in recent memory, there's an important catch that could make or break the experience for you. The game aims to be the most authentic medieval RPG ever created, and it's absolutely uncompromising in that vision. From the intricate details of the combat system to the way the story unfolds, everything serves that single purpose. But this dedication comes with some interesting consequences that we need to discuss. Speaking of consequences, let's talk about what happens when a developer refuses to water down their vision for mass appeal. Because that's where things get really interesting. The gameplay systems, the graphics, the acting, and especially the story have all received major improvements. But there's something specific about these changes that might surprise you, and not always in a good way. Now, if you think the first Kingdom Come was hardcore in its approach to medieval realism, wait until you see what they've done with the sequel. Let's break down exactly why this game is making waves, and more importantly, why it might not be for everyone, even if you love the original. Let's talk about polish, because this is where things get interesting. Kingdom Come Deliverance 2 starts exactly where the first game ended, but the similarities in technical quality stop right there. This sequel feels like a proper AAA game that can stand toe-to-toe with any major release. And speaking of technical improvements, this is where the game really surprises. Remember all those bugs and glitches that became almost legendary in the first game?
Be dead. Good.
They're gone. After about 90 hours of playtime, the only issues that showed up were tiny things, like occasionally getting stuck after dismounting a horse. Nothing game-breaking, nothing serious, just minor hiccups that barely register as problems. But here's what's really impressive. The game runs surprisingly well across different hardware. Whether you're running it on a high-end PC or a handheld gaming device, the performance stays solid. The developers have clearly put a lot of work into making sure the game scales well across different systems. The build releasing on February 4th is supposed to be even more polished than the review version. Now, if you played the original, you know exactly how big of a deal this is. The technical jump between the first game and this sequel is honestly kind of shocking. But there's something specific about these improvements that changes the entire experience, and we need to talk about that next. Here's something really important about Kingdom Come Deliverance 2. It's not trying to win over people who didn't like the first game. While they've fixed a ton of issues like making combat more responsive and improving the AI, this is still very much a Kingdom Come game. It's not trying to be Assassin's Creed Valhalla. If you found Valhalla too shallow, this game is exactly what you're looking for. Now, let's talk about what makes this game special. After the first 10 hours, when the world opens up, you'll start running into enemies who are just flat out better than you. They know moves you don't, they've got better gear, and they've got more experience. That's when the game shows its true colors, because how you deal with that challenge is completely up to you. Want to be a potion master? You can brew stuff and sell it to vendors until you can afford better gear. Rather be a peaceful hunter? Go track deer and sell meat to local butchers. Feel like being a thief? Start picking pockets and risk ending up in the stockades. The game doesn't push you in any direction, it just gives you this world and lets you figure out your place in it. And this is where things get really interesting. Playing the game twice will give you completely different experiences. During preview testing in December, I played like a total criminal, robbing and attacking everyone I saw, but in my full playthrough I tried to be mostly good, only doing bad things when necessary. The way people treated me, the options available to me, everything was different. When you're branded as a criminal, even the local lords who need your help might not want to be seen with you. Let's talk about perks because they've completely revamped this system. I spent most of my time clearing out bandit camps, so I picked perks that helped me move faster with stolen goods and made stolen items become legal more quickly. But here's the cool part. If you're playing as a hunter who never touches combat, you might never even look at these perks. You'd be focusing on completely different skills. The way all these systems work together is pretty amazing. I needed a horse with huge carrying capacity to haul all the armor I was stealing. That meant visiting every horse trader for 45 minutes to find the right one. Then I needed perks to help me run faster with heavy armor, skills to maintain my weapons, and knowledge about which cities would buy my questionably acquired goods. Every choice feeds into every other choice. The leveling system works like old school Skyrim. You get better at what you actually do. Swing a two-handed sword all day, you'll get better with two-handed swords. But don't expect to magically become a master archer just because you leveled up. It's another example of how this game commits to its vision of medieval realism, even if that means some players won't like it. Let's talk about what makes this world feel real, because this is where Kingdom Come Deliverance 2 gets really interesting. It's not just about the big things you do, it's about all the small details that most games ignore. Walk through mud during a rainstorm and shopkeepers will actually notice. They might even charge you more because you look like a mess. Here's a perfect example of how deep this system goes. In most games, you just kill someone and walk up to the next NPC like nothing happened. But here, you need to wash your face in a trough, maybe visit the baths to clean your clothes, and actually think about covering your tracks. Some players might find this tedious, but it makes every action feel like it has real weight. And the consequences don't stop there. Get caught stealing, you're not just paying a fine, you're going to the stockades for public humiliation. After one failed attempt at horse theft, Henry was so humiliated by having rotten vegetables thrown at him that he couldn't pass any charisma checks for days. His confidence was just shattered. Commit enough crimes and you'll get branded as a criminal. Good luck trying to find an innkeeper who will let you stay, or a merchant willing to risk doing business with you after that. The game keeps track of basic needs too. You've got to eat, but eat too much and you'll make yourself sick. Stay awake for 2 days straight and every stat takes a hit from exhaustion. Even saving your game is tied to this system. You either need to sleep in a bed you own or paid for, or drink some savior schnapps that you've bought, brewed, or stolen. Now, if you think games like Grand Theft Auto handle crime realistically, where you just wait for some stars to disappear and everything's back to normal, this isn't that kind of game. Get caught doing something illegal here, and you might be dealing with the consequences for days of in-game time. After a somewhat quiet 2024 for RPGs, this is exactly the kind of start 2025 needed. The developers have created something that makes incredibly complex game systems look effortless, and that's no small feat. This game isn't just a good sequel, it's a masterclass in how to evolve a series. The attention to detail in the historical setting, the depth of its RPG systems, and the way the narrative unfolds all work together to create something truly special. Other RPG developers should take notice, because this sets a new standard for what these games can achieve. But here's the thing, Kingdom Come Deliverance 2 isn't trying to be the next big mainstream hit. It's trying to be the best possible medieval RPG simulation, and it succeeds brilliantly at that goal.